Right, sharing out an amount using a ratio. Okay, so if you imagine that you're sharing money out between people. So for an example, if we had brothers, Dave and Andy, and if they're getting a ratio of 3 to 2, what that would mean is that whenever Dave gets £3, Andy gets £2. Okay, so if they're trying to share £20 between them, well, you can maybe work that out. So if I've made a table, just like I've done before, and we've got Dave and Andy. So if Dave gets 3 and Andy gets 2, that would be £5 altogether. So if I doubled that and gave Dave 6, it means I would give Andy 4, which means about £10 altogether. So if they're going to share £20, well, if I give Dave 12 and give Andy 20, if I give Dave 12 and give Andy 8, it means that there'd be 20 altogether. So that's how you would share out that money. If we're doing this, but we're going to do it in a much more complicated example. So Dave and Andy are going to share a ratio of 3 to 2. And if they receive £8,540 altogether, how much do they each get? So hopefully you can see that from the method before, we wouldn't be able to do that. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to work out firstly how many shares there are in total, work out what each share is worth, and then with that work out what each person is going to get. Okay, so if I think about it, first of all, is I've got a ratio of 3 to 2. So in total, I've got 3 shares for Dave and 2 shares for Andy, which means that there's 5 altogether. Okay, Dave's going to get 3 of them, Andy's going to get 2. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to divide 8,540 by 5. Okay, and that's going to tell you what each share is going to be worth. Okay, so 8,540 divided by 5 in a division. So 5 into 8 goes once, 5 into 35 goes 7 times, 5 into 4 doesn't go, 5 into 40 goes 8 times. So each share is worth £1,708. So what I do next is I take the 1,708 and I'm going to work out how much Andy gets. So I'm going to times it by 2. So when I times it by 2, it gets me 3,416. I'm going to do the same thing for Dave, but obviously this time I'm going to times it by 3. So it's 5,126, okay? And I'm just going to communicate that at the end with the marker. So Andy is going to have £3,416, and then Dave is going to have 5,126 in the end. Okay. If you want to double check your answer, remember that if you add them together, it should get you back to where you started, the 8,540. Okay, example 2. A company distributing flyers gives bonuses based on how many hours everyone works. Caitlin worked 20, Mark worked 15, and Lauren worked 25. They have £288 for bonuses. How much will each person receive? What you'll notice first is there's no ratio, so we're going to have to make the ratio first. So that ratio is to do with how many hours they've worked, so it's 20 to 15 to 25. And for this, you could leave it like that. It'd probably make it a little bit easier if we just simplify it. So all those numbers, 20, 15, 25, can all be divided by 5, which means the simplest ratio is 4 to 3 to 5. What we're going to do next is the same thing we did before and work out how many shares there are in total. So Caitlin's getting 4 shares, Mark's getting 3, and Lauren's getting 5. So it's 4 plus 3 plus 5, which gives us 12. So there are 12 shares altogether. So add them up, find out how many shares there are in total. Remember what we have to do next, which is to work out how much each share is worth. So each share is going to be 288 divided by 12, which is 24. So we're going to do Caitlin first. So Caitlin has got 4 shares. So it's 4 times 24, which is 96. Mark has got 3 times 24. So he's £72. And then lastly, Lauren is 5 shares. So she's 5 times 24. So she's £120. Okay. And then what you can do again, remember, is just add them up and make sure you go back to 288, which is where you start.